So did you guys all check out my booth earlier? Were you guys all past there a minute ago? No? You guys? Nobody? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Had some activities over there. So my name is Rob, or Ranger Rob, and I have just started a company called Ranger Rob's Animal Awareness Campaign. And what I do is I go around to schools and events, and I focus my talks towards kids about how to involve themselves with wildlife and how to properly take care of their pets. Okay, that way their parents don't have to do it. Now the thing is a lot of times people want animals and they'll be going around and, like my little friend here, this is Franklin. He is a Northeast fox turtle. He's hiding in this little hut here. You guys see him there poking out? You guys see him? There he is. That's Franklin. He's a Northeast fox turtle. Now these are incredibly endangered because people found them in the wild and said, hey, this is a cool wildlife animal that doesn't bite me when I pick it up. They're really friendly. So they took them out of the wild and started finding out that, essentially, they're friendly to have and they're neat pets. The only thing is, if you take out all these animals out of the wild, do you think they're going to be able to do very well in the wild with the few that are left? No. So what I'm going to do is I go around and I talk about how to properly interact with animals in the wild without hurting them or yourself. Okay? So I did go to school. I went to Kent State University for animal zoology, and I was a keeper for a while at Disney World in Florida. And I decided that I want to do something a little different. I want to focus strictly towards kids and teaching you guys how to properly be around animals. Yeah. Now, how many of you guys have pets at home?
Me!
What do you got?
2 kittens.
2 kittens, all right. Do you take care of them or do your parents take care of them?
I take care of them.
Good for you. What about you?
2 cats, 1 dog, guinea pig, and a hamster.
Nice. You guys?
4 snakes, 1 lizard, a couple fish, papaya, 4 cats.
Got a zoo at home. Now, are any of these animals native to Ohio?
Oh, we have a black rat.
Black rat snake? Okay, all right, that's fine. Now, don't tell any of the cops around here because it is illegal to have native wildlife.
No, it was actually
Oh, okay. That's all right, though. What did you have? 2 kittens? All right, very cool. Now, how many of you have ever gone out into the wild and seen animals in the wild that you want to go out and interact with? Yeah? So what kind of animals did you see? What kind of animals did you see out in the wild? What's that? Oh, wow. What about you, buddy? Salamanders. There's a lot of salamanders. Now before we get too deep into talking about wild animals, we're going to stick with pets for a little bit, and then we'll get back into the wild animals. How many of you like to go up to dogs when you see somebody walking a dog? How many of you know how to properly do that? What do you do when you see a strange dog? Come up and smell you. Very good. Now, which one of these dogs looks the friendliest? The one smiling, the big smile there. Okay. Oh no, the Chihuahua looks adorable, doesn't it? No, not at all. No. You can go to this. Now, there's a couple different ways that you watch when you're around dogs that you can tell what's going on in their mind. I'm trying to cut off. But you can look, if they're looking like they're real stiff and kind of straight looking right at you, they're probably trying to figure you out. And these aren't things that I'll get into too much because I want you guys, if you're interested in this, I'm just trying to encourage you to do your own research into looking up how to interact with strange dogs. Obviously, the tongue's out, dog looks happy, real calm and relaxed. He's probably saying, hey, let's be friends. Go to the next one. And there's a whole bunch of different things called body language that you want to look for in dogs. And these are some cute little pictures that just kind of show if a dog's cowering down or, different things you want to look for in dogs to know if it's safe to go up to them. But always ask the person walking the dog if it's okay to touch them. Even if you know that the dog looks happy, sometimes the people aren't happy with you touching their dog. So you always want to make sure what you're doing is okay with the people. So does anybody have any questions about going around animals or pets that are domesticated? That means like, cats and dogs. You guys all have all these things, so you probably don't need it too much. Now, wildlife. So you said you have a black rat snake. Now, black rat snakes, they are found in Ohio, just like Franklin. He's a northeast fox turtle. And it is illegal to have native Ohio wildlife unless you got them from another place or you have a permit. For Franklin, my aunt actually breeds northeastern box turtles for the state and puts them back into the wild so they're able to continue growing and surviving and trying to get a breeding population back. My little buddy here, he was born with a calcium deficiency, so he doesn't digest food properly. That's what I meant to say. So he would never be able to survive very well in the wild. So I have him now to try to take care of him, and I use him as a spokesperson or an ambassador to talk to you guys to talk about why not to take them out of the wild. Now, when you guys interact with wildlife, you guys get around bugs a lot? You guys like messing with bugs? What about turtles and frogs and salamanders? Now, did you know all amphibians that secrete a mucus are poisonous, especially all frogs? They're all poisonous. So you don't want to be touching them and then touching your mouth. But if you do touch them, those are some animals that are fairly safe to touch. And it's fun for you to be around them, and you can learn a lot from it. And if you don't want to hurt them, when you're touching a salamander or a frog, all you have to do is get your hand wet, because a dry hand can hurt their skin. It can hurt their skin and clog up their pores, and it'll make them sick. But if you see a frog or a salamander and you want to touch it, all you have to do is get your hand a little wet, and then you can pick them up and interact with them. And it's one safe way to be around wildlife. With bugs, you don't really have to worry about wetting your hand, but always make sure you know what kind of bug it is before you touch it, because even a big grasshopper can give you a little pinch. It can bite a little bit, and then if you're squeamish, you might not want to get too close to it. All right. Now, like I said, some are fun and safe. Who around here likes to mess with frogs and toads? Do you guys like to mess with frogs and toads?
I only catch normal frogs.
Normal frogs?
Not rainforest frogs.
Not rainforest. That's good. That's good. You're not going down to the rainforest to bother the frogs. What kind of frogs do you catch around here? Do you know?
Well, I don't see frogs in here. I only see them where there's a hotel place.
Oh, okay.
I see lizards also.
That's pretty cool. I bet you see the little green anoles, the little lizards when you go on trips.
That's the hotel.
Now, toads are another neat animal to interact with. Most animals around here are not fun to interact with, especially the mammals. But the thing with the mammals is they need our help too. Yeah, I know raccoons can be kind of scary, and there's a whole bunch around, but they are a very, very important part of the ecosystem around here, and they do also deserve our respect and our help. Now, bats. How many of you guys think that we need bats to survive? Yeah. Why is that? Why do we need bats? They eat bugs. They eat so many bugs and mosquitoes. And most of those bugs and mosquitoes, or not most of them, some of them have diseases that humans can get. So if the bats aren't eating those bugs, where do you think those bugs are going to be going?
Us.
Right on us. That's not good, is it? But there is a problem going around with bats. It's a disease called white nose, and it's a fungal infection that gets into their lungs, their respiratory system, and they can't breathe very well. So we're really trying to work to help bats. So if you guys want to help bats, do a little research and build a bat house in your backyard, and they keep the mosquitoes away, which is the best part. So you want a good mosquito deterrent other than the spray, get some bats. Yeah. All right, you can go now. Now, how many of you guys like having wildlife in your backyard? Adults also. Do you guys like having wildlife in your backyard? Somewhat, kind of. So what kind of animals don't you want around? Cats? Okay, feral cats. Lions? I wouldn't want a lion in my backyard. What about you? Raccoons? Don't want raccoons around? Skunks? No vultures? So what if there's an animal that passes away? You're just going to let it be there and smell up the yard? No. Or would you prefer a vulture come and eat it and then the vulture can go away? Yeah. And raccoons do clean up a lot of different things, but you're right, they do love getting into garbage and stuff like that, which is kind of a pain to clean up. But if you're going to leave the garbage can open, you might as well have some visitors. What other animals do you not want around that we have around here?
Pythons?
Pythons? We don't have pythons around here.
Mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes, though. We get the bats to help build a bat house to help them. Possums? Now, possums, yeah, they look nasty, but do you know possums cannot get rabies? They're not an animal that can carry rabies. Yeah, they look nasty and they foam from the mouth to fool you into thinking that they're sick. But those are just adaptations, those are behavioral adaptations that they got to make you think that they have rabies. And they're scavengers. They spend most of their time in trees, they're arboreal, and yeah, they'll come down and get in your trash can, but you just gotta learn to put a lid on it, you know. What about you? What do you think?
Skunks.
Skunks? Now, why don't you want skunks around? They stink?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a skunk?
No, I know because
You saw a bunch of baby skunks? What about, have you seen a skunk?
Skunk in no,
Rabbits? I like rabbits around. They're kind of cute. And they fertilize your yard without you even knowing it.
I hate rabbits.
Now, skunks, yes. Skunks can be kind of smelly, but the skunks keep other animals away because of their smell. And they usually only smell if they spray. Most of the time, they won't smell, though. And when you're driving along the road and you smell them, it's because somebody probably hit one. Now, how many of you know different ways to invite animals into your yard? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I've already talked about bat houses. How else can we invite them? Set out food for them. Now, you don't want to set out different kinds of food because some animals, because if you set out food, it'll attract raccoons and the opossum. But if you set out bird feed, or different kinds of food like that to attract birds, that's one thing, but then you might get some squirrels, as long as you don't mind the squirrels. But you can build bird houses, you can build toad houses. Toads help keep down on the bugs also, and they eat all those nasty animals that might be in a garden, like different kinds of bugs. Yeah.
Kind of like with monarch butterflies.
Right. If you guys want some beautiful butterflies around, there's different kind of flowers and milkweed that you can get to attract them. What do you think?
Did you know that bats, when they eat fruit, they can like spit it at the dirt and they can grow like a tree?
How cool is that? So some animals even help plants grow. Isn't that cool? All right. So animals, when you're outside, you're going on a nature hike. If you saw a turtle like Franklin, what would you do? What would you do if you saw a turtle like Franklin? Leave it alone? How about you? Be surprised? I would be surprised too because they are endangered. Anybody else? What do you think?
Help it?
Help it? You know what? If you see an animal in the wild, they probably don't need your help in a direct way. The kind of way you can help them is exactly what you and your sister do, by recycling, by rethinking how you use different kinds of trash and stuff like that. But if you see a turtle like Franklin or a frog, as long as you are careful with them, it is okay to interact with them. You can pick up a turtle like Franklin and look at him. As long as you put him back, it's usually okay. And I feel like if you pick him up and interact with him, you can learn more about him that way. As long as you're very gentle and you don't hurt him. A lot of people will tell you, oh, leave it alone and stuff like that. But it's good to be able to pick these animals up in a safe way because then, do you guys want to care about or save something that you don't really care about? You guys want to help things that you don't care about? No? I wouldn't want to help anything that I didn't care about. But the more you learn about things, the more you care about things. So feel free to go up to a turtle like Franklin, pick him up and look at him. As long as it's not a snapping turtle. Make sure it's not a snapping turtle. They're bigger, so you'd probably be able to identify it. But then just put them back right where you found them. As long as they're not upside down, they'll be fine. They'll go up on their own. You can go ahead. Now, like I was saying, you want to invite rabbits into your yard or birds, build bird houses, build different kinds of things that invite animals into your yard, that help them have habitats. Because how many of you in here have heard about habitat destruction? You guys all heard about that? So habitat destruction is when people come in and they take down forests and stuff like that. But the thing is, those animals will still be looking for homes. So if you want to live and coexist with these animals, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do that to help them out. I think that's kind of cool. Now, do you guys have any questions about any animals that you've always wanted to ask somebody that you never knew who to ask? What you got? Nobody? Nothing? You guys must be super smart. What's your question? All right.
What is that? It looks very strong.
That is a mountain gorilla.
Oh.
Yeah. Not a native species, but still very cool. That's a mountain gorilla. It's an endangered species. There's only around 500 mountain gorillas left in the wild.
Why looking at
Yeah, it's a cute little baby. Look, I thought it looked confused. So I thought it would be a good picture for questions.
Surprised that it has pink
What's that? There's this one little, this species. You know what, I'm not exactly sure. Their numbers are rising, though. They are coming back because people are trying to help them and not take them out of the wild. So their numbers are rising up. So they are coming back. What do you have? What's your question?
How can we bring the rabbits in the backyard?
How can you bring rabbits into the backyard? What you can do is you can have different kinds of grasses, or have a like a lettuce garden specifically for rabbits. You can plant some lettuce seeds. They love lettuce. They love different kinds of carrots and stuff like that. But the best way to do it is have bushes. If you have bushes for the rabbits to hide in, they will probably nest there and have babies there, and they love getting under the bushes. And that's one thing I want to talk about. If you guys find a baby rabbit out in the middle of the yard in the daytime, it's fine. The mom knows it's there. They will leave the babies all day so they don't attract attention to the babies. That way they can come back at night to take care of them. So they haven't abandoned them. Yeah.
Why do sharks have noses?
Why do what?
Sharks have noses.
Why do sharks have noses?
Because they already have gills.
They do already have gills, but their noses aren't really noses for breathing. Their noses are more for sensing animals in trouble in the water. They can feel electric impulses and heartbeats in the water, and they follow it with their nose. It's a special organ. It's not like our nose. Now, I want to thank you guys for having me and listening to me. It was awesome. This is my first public event, so yay, public event. Make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm always doing animal contests, facts of the day, and I love going out and talking at schools to different scout programs. And I'm very, very big supporter of adoption. I work directly with the Delaware County Humane Society. I'm one of their dog trainers there, and I also sponsor their animals on my site very regularly. And then you get free dog training classes if you adopt one of the animals that I'm sponsoring. So I'd really like to see you guys come out and check out my pictures of the animals if you're looking for a new pet. All right, thank you guys very much. I'll be around at my booth if you have any more questions.